Now I'm going to read a quote here from an individual. Some of you may have seen this. It was in one of my publications. And this is a quote from an individual when he was a senator. Sounds pretty good. Sounds like, I don't think many people in here have too much objection with this. He said the Clinton administration would like the federal government to have the capability to read any international domestic computer communications. The FBI wants access to decode, digest, and discuss financial transactions, personal emails, and proprietary information sent abroad, all in the name of national security. The administration's interest in all email is a wholly unhealthy precedent, especially given this administration, Clinton's administration's track record on FBI files and IRS snooping. Every medium by which people communicate can be subject to exploitation by those with illegal intentions. Nevertheless, this is no reason to hand Big Brother the keys to unlock our email diaries, open our ATM records, and read our medical records or translate our international communications. The implications here are far-reaching, with impact that touch individual users, companies, libraries, universities, teachers, and students. Does anybody disagree with that statement? That's a fair warning. That comes from none other than John Ashcroft. But now he's in charge. He has the power, and all of a sudden his attitude is different. He will know how to handle the power and authority much better than the Clinton administration. But maybe Wallace was right. Maybe there's not a dime's worth of difference. It's too bad we can't make him eat these words. That's what he needs to do.
I voted against it. Now, let me tell you why I voted against it. Let me tell you why I voted against it. It was passed in an atmosphere of fear. Members of Congress, they're just like anyone else. They're afraid. But I'll tell you, when you're in a powerful position and you're afraid, that's not good. Because this was, when the Patriot Act was passed, rather than fear, we needed courage to mark the response of our nation to the events of 9/11. But members of Congress, right away, there were extra metal detectors everywhere, and there were soldiers, in combat fatigue, standing outside of those marble buildings. There were sharpshooters on top of the Capitol, barricades put up where there never were barricades before. So all this was playing with people's heads. So they put the Patriot Act in, they brought it in late at night. Most members hadn't even read it. So like a 330-page bill. They brought it in, I think about 2:30 in the morning is when they called the vote. And so most people hadn't read it, and it was called the Patriot Act, and it sounded right. Or even though they hadn't read it, you say Patriot, sounds okay. I'm a Patriot, you're a Patriot, well, okay, we'll vote for it. But they hadn't read it, and if they had read it, they would have seen this. That it gives the government the authority to go into people's homes and download stuff from a computer without even having a warrant. Take it out. It gives the government tremendous power, increased power in wiretaps. Gives the government the ability to go to a librarian and get your reading list, or a video store and see what videos you're watching. And no one, and those clerks can't tell. Government can get health, financial information. And from there, from the Patriot Act, they built other things too. Executive orders. Internment at Guantanamo Bay. Not giving people a chance to be told what they're charged with. People don't have a right to a trial. All these abuses of the criminal justice system that stem from a mentality that it's okay to start to roll back constitutional rights. Now the government's looking at a program called Total Information Awareness, which includes color coding everyone here who would want to travel by air and assigning a different risk factor. What are we doing to ourselves? I mean, we're creating enemies of all of our people. And so I think that, let's step back for a second. When a country's under attack, you don't give up your liberties, you hold on to them. You hold on to them. Because if it is our liberties that are under attack, then we stand up and defend them. But when the government itself is leading the charge to get us to roll back our liberties, you got to raise questions. What's that about? I mean, think for a moment about these color-coded threat systems, kind of Orwellian weather reports.
Today is orange.
What's that about? I mean, what's that? Yeah, they're promoting fear. It's like a drumbeat of fear. And what is it? Why would they do that? It's easy to control people that way. And because look, any of us can be fearful. All of us have experienced fear. It's part of being here on the planet. We experience all kinds of emotions. Fear is one of them. But we also know this, that fear has the ability to paralyze us. Fear, anyone of us who's ever experienced fear knows that fear can cause us to do things even against our own interests. Fear can cause us to do things that are counterproductive. Just think of our own relationships and our own lives, how fear is like a poison. That's why 71 years ago, a president of the United States faced a nation that was fearful about whether people were going to have food on the table, clothes on their backs, a roof over their heads. And what did he do? And those are basic fears. And he told the nation, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. And he rallied the country. We need to once again challenge this fear and call forth courage from the American people in this time of uncertainty. It's time to call forth courage from America. Not to ask our people to be fearful,